Good morning, dear children. Let's learn the next lesson in English second, that is friends and flatterers. Children, I hope you all have friends. Since we have online classes, I don't know how many friends you have in class, or you must have lost your friendship at least for some time, okay, for a period of time. You may not have a connection with them. Okay, we all have friends, but do you know whether they are good friends or bad friends? How can you identify a good friend from bad friends? Or how can you identify their intentions? Okay, this poem, Friends and Flatterers, in which William Shakespeare talks about how can you find or how can you identify a good friend from a bad friend. Also, he tells some of the qualities of good friends and the defects of bad friends, which will make us to choose the right friends. We all need friends, but choosing a friend is that means it must be done carefully. Otherwise, they can spoil our life. A friend has a major role in our life, so definitely they can spoil our life, or they can encourage and they can lift our life in times of troubles. But choosing a friend is very important. It should be done very carefully, and there should be a discernment or spirit in order to find a good friend. Okay, let's come to know something about the author. I think I may not have to say a lot regarding the author, William Shakespeare. Let's come to the description about the author, page number 66. William Shakespeare is considered the greatest playwright of all time. The plays he wrote more than 400 years ago dominate the world's theatre even today. Equally impressive is the collection of 154 sonnets he wrote. He used a particular form of sonnet which has come to be known as the Shakespearean sonnet. His sonnets express everything from pain and death to desire, wisdom and happiness. In his poems and plays, Shakespeare invented thousands of words, often combining or altering Latin, French and English. The poem Friends and Flatterers tells us that our true friends are not those who praise us in good times, but those who help us in times of need or grief. Okay, let's explain, let's discuss about this description. And William Shakespeare, I think the literature of English is incomplete without the reference to William Shakespeare. He has contributed that much to English literature. For example, he had coined a number of words in English. Many of the words which we use today are contributed by William Shakespeare. So English literature is clearly there indebtful towards William Shakespeare. He represents an age, or that means whatever he has written, the themes that he had found, all these have relevance even today. That is why this person is considered as one of the major figures in the literature of English. Okay, and his plays and some of the poems are even translated to other languages. And here we will learn something about William Shakespeare. The plays he wrote more than 400 years ago dominate the world's theatre even today. That means it is relevant. The theme of Shakespeare's dramas are relevant today. That means, what is the meaning of relevance? that means it is applicable even in the present situation when we take the themes of Shakespeare. That is why even today it is played. Also his language is very fine language. Although he was not considered to be a great writer in his time, later on only we identified his importance. Okay, so even today his plays or dramas are played in the theatres. Equally impressive is the collection of 154 sonnets he wrote. What does it mean by sonnet? That's a short poem which has definite rhyme scheme like AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, and finally GG. In such a way it is written. It's not considered to be the sonnet which we study now. Sonnet, that's a short lyrical poem which has a single theme, and here this poem is very short, but it's not considered to be a sonnet as per the rhyme scheme of Shakespeare. Okay, and he has written 154 sonnets, means that was 154 short poems. He used a particular form of sonnet which has come to be known as Shakespearean sonnet. I told you the rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnet. His sonnets express everything from pain, death to desire, wisdom and happiness. That means he had touched most of the themes that is in the world, like pain that is happening to every human being. So he had chosen that topic or theme in some of his sonnets. Death as a theme which people will be worried about, or people are afraid of it, and he has chosen this theme also. Desire, okay, desire for wealth, desire for beauty, desire for something else. All these are human wants or human aims which people want to fulfill in their life. So he had chosen these themes, wisdom and happiness. In his poems and plays, Shakespeare invented thousands of words. I told you he had contributed a number of words to English literature. So in his poems also he had used these words, often combining or altering Latin, French and English. That means he had borrowed some words from Latin and French and he combined it with English words. So he made new words in English. The poem Friends and Flatterers tells us that our true friends are not those who praise us in good times, but those who help us in times of need or grief. Sometimes we may feel that if someone is standing by us, they are always with us. No. Okay, they will be with us only in times of good times or fortunes. But when we have bad times or misfortunes, definitely they will be running away from us. So we have to identify a good friend and a bad friend. Okay, that's what this poem tells us. Okay, let's come to the poem, page number 65. Friends and Flatterers, William Shakespeare. Everyone that flatters thee is no friend in misery. Words are easy like the wind, faithful friends are hard to find. Every man will be thy friend, whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. But if store of crowns be scant, no man shall supply thy want. If that one be prodigal, bountiful, they will him call. And with such like flattering, pity but he were a king. But if fortune once do frown, then farewell his great renown. They that fawned on him before use his company no more. He that is thy friend indeed, he will help thee in thy need. If thou sorrow, he will weep. If thou wake, he cannot sleep. Thus of every grief in heart, he with thee doth bear a part. These are certain signs to know faithful friend from flattering foe. Okay, I think by reading itself you understood something. Okay, let's explain the poem. Everyone that flatters thee is no friend in misery. Those people who tells good of you, those people who praise you always, they may not be the friend who stand by in your sad times or bad times or troubles. Okay, you cannot believe a person as a good friend by just seeing their or just listening to their words. Okay, that means words everyone can use, but they cannot be trustworthy. And the person who praises you a lot may not be called a friend. Sometimes we may feel at that moment that he is a good friend, but we have to identify or test his trustworthiness by the way he behaves when we are in a trouble. Okay, that's why the author Shakespeare tells that everyone that flatters thee, the person who praises you, thee is a old usage of you. Okay, flatters, praises you, is no friend in misery, cannot be called a friend in troubles or bad times. Words are easy. We can use words. It's easy to say. We can use a number of words like the wind. What is the feature of wind? It comes from somewhere and immediately it will be disappearing, and it doesn't have any particular intention or aim. Likewise, the person who uses a number of words may not be using it with an intention. They can say any word, they may not have any intention, and words are easy like the wind. There is a comparison. These words used by the flatterers are just like the wind, which doesn't have any intention or which doesn't have any trustworthiness. These words are not honest, and faithful friends are hard to find. It's very difficult to find a good friend or faithful friend who stand by you in times of trouble and who are honest in times of troubles. Okay, every man will be thy friend whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. That means if you have a lot of money, you will have a lot of friends. Okay, you must have heard a lot of stories regarding this particular theme. If you have a lot of money, a lot of rich or wealth, at that time you will have a number of people to accompany you. Even we see in the present time, just like when that means the money and position. These are the two things which gives us a lot of friends. Okay, there will be a lot of fans if we are a true leader, if we are a good leader. But if something happens to us, what happens? These people just leave. Okay, they may not have any. That means they are not bound to us. Okay, and so we have to understand, we have to discern who is a good friend. And every man will be thy friend whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. That means whilst means while thou you has means has wherewith to spend. That means when you have a lot of money to spend, you will have a lot of friends. But if store of crowns be scant, no man shall supply thy want. What's the meaning of crowns here? That's an old British coin. Okay, that means when you have the lack of this money, when you don't have a collection of wealth with you, no man shall supply thy want. In times of your troubles, in times of your needs, there will not be anyone. Thy want here it means something you need but you do not have. Means sometimes you will be, even if you are a wealthy man, sometimes you will feel that you may not have money for something. But at that times, these flattering friends will be disappearing. You cannot find them. They are opportunists. Okay, that means, and when you are having money, they will be with you. When you are not in good times, they will leave you. They are opportunist. Okay. And if that one be prodigal, bountiful, they will call him. They will him call. That means prodigal means one who spends money freely. That means when you have a lot of money, you can spend it freely. At that time, if that one be prodigal, bountiful, they will call him. The people will call you generous. When you spend a lot of money for them, they will call you generous. Bountiful here it means generous. Okay, that means they will associate, they will call using a lot of adjectives to you. That is generous means you are generously spending for them. And with such like flattering, pity, but he were a king. Okay, and sometimes and with such like flattering, pity, but he were a king. And that means even in the times of these good times, they are ready to call even to be a king. They will say that you have all the qualities of a king. Who is a king? A king is a person who is ready to provide everything to his subjects. So, the person who is spending a lot to his friends, they are ready to call him as friend because he had a lot of wealth. But in times of trouble, no one will be with you. The person who called you as generous, the person who called you as king will be disappeared. Okay. But if fortune once do frown, then farewell his great renown. Okay. What is the meaning of if fortune but do once frown? As soon as a person begins to lose money or becomes unlucky, we cannot predict our times, our future. It is not in our hands. We do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. Even if we are wealthy today, there is possibility to lose everything within a moment. We are seeing it in people's lives. That is, means this is life. So, at any time there can happen losses, misfortunes, and also there can be having a lot of difficulties that comes to life. That is natural. That is life. So, but if fortune once do frown, means frown here it means if fortune is not favoring a person who was very wealthy once, then farewell his great renown. At the moment itself, those flatterers will be disappearing or will be saying goodbye to this person. Farewell, saying goodbye. Okay, so then they will say that they are no more fame, they are no more renowned. Okay, so once they called him as king, as generous, but once he loses everything, the same people who stood by this person will be disappearing and they are not ready to accompany him. They that fawned on him before use his company no more. The people who stood by this person in times of luck, fortune, they will move, they will skip, they will go away from this person. They don't want the company of this person. He that is thy friend indeed, he will help thee in thy need. How can you identify a good friend? The person who is your good friend, they will be there with you always. Okay, that means even in troubles they will be with you. And from this particular poem, the saying that a friend in need is your friend indeed, that came. Okay, so he that is thy friend indeed, indeed means really, the person whom you consider as real friend, he will help thee in thy need. He will be with you in your needs, in your troubles. If thou sorrow, he will weep. That means if you are sad, he will be crying with you. When you are crying, he will share your sorrows. And if thou wake, he cannot sleep. Sometimes we will be troubled, and at night we cannot sleep properly if our worries are more, if our means if something happens just opposite to our expectations. Even at that time, these people will be standing by you. They will share your feelings. They will be waking always, and they cannot sleep. A real friend. A real friend will be standing by you always in your needs. Thus, of every grief in heart, he with thee doth bear a part. So, each and every sorrow that you face in your mind will be a part of this friend. They will share it. They are ready to share because they are your really friends. These are certain signs to know faithful from friend from flattering foe. Okay, these are some of the signs or indicators to know, to identify or to discern a good friend from a flattering foe. Flattering, praising foe, enemy. Okay, that means these people who praises you are like enemies because they will not be with you at times of your difficulties. Okay, so we always need a person who is our friend, but we may not need it in times of good luck. We need them more in times of trouble. So these people who are really a friend, definitely they will be with you always. Okay, this is a short poem. Definitely it must have influenced you, and also you take some morals from it. When you choose your friend, identify their motives. Okay, what makes them to choose you as friend, as well as when you choose a friend, just think whether this person will be my friend, whether this person will understand me, whether this person will stand by me. Okay, so this poem must help us in our life. Okay, one of the poetic technique that is used in this poem is inversion. Inversion means that is a using of words not in the correct order. Inversion. One example is bountiful. They will him call. Actually, it must be like this. They will call him bountiful. They will call him bountiful. That is the correct order of that word order of that use a phrase. Okay, but it is given not in that correct order. That is called inversion. That is a poetic technique like simile metaphor. Okay, there are also other examples for inversion in this particular poem. That is, but if fortune once do frown. Okay, if fortune once do frown, once frown is changed its order. Okay, another example of inversion is he with thee doth bear a part. Okay, he who is with you does or bear a part. There is a change of order. Okay, again one more figures of speech which we have to discuss here is alliteration. What is alliteration? Repetition of consonant sounds in a line. Repetition of consonant sounds in the beginning of words in a line. Okay, let's see some of the alliterations in this particular lesson. That is in the second stanza. Whilst thou had wherewith to spend. See, whilst sound is repeated, wherewith. Again, the same sound is repeated. So this W or V sound is repeated in the same line. That is called alliteration. Again, there is another alliteration that we find here is, but if fortune wants to frown, fortune and frown, these sounds are repeated. That is called alliteration. Regarding the rhyme scheme, find the ending lines whether they are rhyming each other. You find the and misery. That means ending sound we have to check. the misery. Okay, so the two rhymes again, wind and find, friend spent, scant want, prodigal call, flattering king, frown renown, before more, indeed need, weep and sleep, heart and part, no foe. All these words are rhyming. Okay, with this we'll wind up the lesson. Please learn it, make some benefits out of this poem.